What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA 8-game slate. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys want to be entered into our $25 giveaway, which we will announce on stream tonight, please like, subscribe, and comment your favorite overall play on this NBA slate. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/dgfantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on DraftKings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 8-game slate, but first I have to show off the Patreon success again from last night. We had $23 turned into $80 with the Houston and Miami stacks. If you guys didn't do that, well, you deserve to lose money last night. Very obvious stacks all the way around. $31 into $152. We had a $94 turned into $194.50, and another $80 winner here. This was in the turbo slate and also on the main slate. And then last but not least, let me go backwards here. We had another close to takedown, 9th place out of 713 people, 345 points. That was the score this person had. Very good night all the way around for our Patreon members. And again, guys, we post our updated projections, projected ownerships, and our favorite leverage spots and cash options on all of our slates, okay? And this is just an easy to read format. If you guys want to sign up again, it's only $20 to get you that, and then put into our private Discord community where I update all of my favorite plays throughout the night. All of our coaches are in there bouncing ideas off of each other and helping to create some better lives for you guys. But let's go ahead and focus on this slate. We have an 8-game slate. We have the Washington and Detroit game postponed, and I believe another one. Yeah, we had Golden State and Phoenix postponed yesterday as well. With Orlando and Boston, let's go ahead and take a look at the injury report. We have Aminu, Bamba, Michael Carter-Williams, Fournier, all out for these guys for Boston. We have officially Edwards, Langford, Tatum, Kemba Walker, and Robert Williams all out. Jaylen Brown, Green, Ojale, and Tice are all questionable. Okay, that's something to be paying attention to. This is going to be a pace-down spot for both of these guys. But again, these injuries will impact the Boston Celtics for sure. New York Knicks, nothing really to be said here. With Cleveland, they have a very interesting picture. So we don't know if Jarrett Allen's going to be playing tonight. As you guys know, he came from the Nets over to Cleveland in a blockbuster trade. So if he is playing tonight, that's going to make me off of pretty much all these players, at least all the big men. We don't know what Andre Drummond's role is going to be in the future, like if that's going to eat into his usage. We just don't know. We don't know if Taurean Prince is going to play tonight. He is probable, so that could eat into some of these guys' usage. I would avoid these guys just because they got a big increase in price tag. It's a pace down spot, and now we got a bunch of new players on the team. Just a lot of question marks for this roster, so I'm honestly going to avoid these guys altogether. With Dallas, we have Brunson, Finney Smith, and Josh Richardson all out for the Dallas Mavericks. For Milwaukee, nothing. For Memphis, we still have Jackson, Porter, Tilly, and Winslow. John Morant is questionable, so we have to pay attention to that. If he is playing, his price tag is actually pretty appealing, and it pays up spot versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have Noel, Hernangomez, Layman, and Rubio all out. Karl Anthony Towns is probable, which is good. Good to see him back. Chicago, we haven't seen them on a slate in a while, it feels like. Dotson, Hutchinson, Cornette, Satoransky all out for these guys. Not too much to really be said. We have Zach LaVine's price tag now up at $9,500. I think that's a big jump, a pretty insane jump, especially against the OKC Thunder. For the Thunder, we have Baisley out. We have Ariza out. Nothing more to be said there. Atlanta, we have Bogdanovich, Dunn, Gallinari. That does give some usage boost here to a couple of other players. We'll talk about that. Same thing with Utah. Utah's in the pace-up spot there without Ingles, Morgan, and Brantley is questionable. With New Orleans, we have Lonzo Ball, which is the biggest injury news on the slate so far, and Eric Bledsoe is questionable. If Eric Bledsoe is out, I love the guard play yet again for the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll talk about them here in a little bit. With the Lakers, we still have the questionable tags always on Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Wes Matthews. Antetokounmpo is out, and Jared Dudley is out. With the Clippers, we have Scrub. Lou Will is questionable. Patrick Beverley is probable. If Lou Will is held out, that gives a boost to a couple of players. And then with Sacramento, last but not least, we have Jeffries and Ramsey's out. Not too much going on there in Sacramento. Let's start with the Orlando Boston game. Not too much on the Magic side. We have Vucevic at $9,000, a good fantasy point per minute player with a certain injuries off the court. That's probably the only guy I'm really looking at. James Giannis only projected at 22 minutes, so not too much to be looking at here. Just overall in this picture, a majority of the injuries are back. And we have Aaron Gordon at full strength. So in a pace down spot versus a very good defense, the only guy I have real interest in is going to be Vucevic for tournaments only. So let's talk about the Boston side. With Jeff Teague, we'll go ahead and take a look here at the usage boost for this team with all the injuries off. When I take Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, Robert Williams, Langford, and Edwards off the court, Jeff Teague actually gets a pretty significant boost here, and he actually has the highest usage rate on the team next to Jaylen Brown. He averages 1.16 fantasy points per minute with all these injuries off the court. Jaylen Brown next in the list, 32.4%. A bulk of this offense is going to be going through these guys, and I do like these guys for cash / GPP options. Again, it is a pace down spot, so tread lightly there. 1.25 fantasy points per minute is what he averages with these guys off the court, and of course this is dating back to last season, so we have a good sample size here to be looking at. I do like Jeff Teague as a 6.1 point per dollar value, and Jaylen Brown's not that bad of a price tag here, 8.9K. Of course, if Jason Tatum was playing, I would not be on Jaylen Brown, but since he's the only guy that's really going to be scoring any points, I do like him and Jeff Teague. Going down to the New York Knicks, no pace down spot for both of these guys. I mean, you can pretty much just fade the Cleveland Cavs and New York Knicks. I haven't even done calculations on them because it is an absolute mess. Should be relatively low scoring. They haven't pinned Vegas odds yet. It's too early for them to be doing that, especially with all these injuries. So I'm just going to move on past them. Just don't look back, guys. With the Dallas Mavericks here, we have Willie Cauley-Stein, still a 6.6 point per dollar value. This is another team you can target for value. 4.5K price tag and playing 27 projected minutes. We still have Dwight Powell, Kleber out, are projected out right now. They're questionable. Porzingis is projected to play only 25 minutes, so that should eat into the usage of someone like Luka Doncic. Yes, he's been on an absolute tear, so don't hate him at 11K. I think that's still underpriced, but if we're looking in terms of value, it's going to be Willie Cauley-Stein, a window projected at 27 minutes, not a good fantasy point per minute player. He averages 0.51 fantasy points per minute, so I'm not thrilled about that. Another player, if you want to take a stab at in tourneys, is going to be James Johnson. These guys are playing in the pace-up spot versus Milwaukee, and this should be relatively competitive, but I'm very interested on the other side of the ball here, specifically with Giannis. Giannis at 10.8K did get the price bump, but again, he hasn't played in too many competitive games. When he is in a competitive game, he smashes his value because when he's out on the floor, he does it all, and he's a superstar. So I think he should be priced closely to 12K if they're playing in competitive matchups. And right now we're getting our first competitive game other than playing Detroit. I feel like they play Detroit every single game, but now they're playing Dallas as a 6-point spread. 10.8K is just really, really cheap. I think he's going to be relatively high owned and one of the cheaper studs on the slate to target that makes sense. Giannis, one of the top 3 players in the NBA, so I like him as a do-it-all player. He's a high usage player, averaging close to 35% usage here to start the season. And the rest of the players are definitely GPP options. Chris Middleton jumps out. Drew Holiday at 7.2K. He is questionable technically, but I do like Giannis here from this team. And I think he could end up being a core option the more we go through the slate, of course, barring any crazy injury news, which we are always prepared for here at Daily Grind Fantasy Sports. Switching over to Memphis here, we have a ton of injuries. But like I said, Ja Morant is questionable technically, but it looks like they're expecting him to play 29 minutes. Probably the only guy I do like. All these price tags are up on these guys because they've all come up based on the injury news that have been out recently. So the only guy I have true interest in is Ja Morant, and that's if we get a no limit minute restriction here from them before the slate does start, and it's a pace-up spot for all these guys, so I do like him for tourneys, but again, it's going to be just Ja Morant for me. With Minnesota, not too much to be said. We have Karl Anthony Towns back. He is projected to play full minutes. 9.9 is straight up just a really good price tag for him. If we think back to when he was at full strength, he got up to about 11K, so another player you could target here. I definitely have a lot of interest, and if he is projected to play really 34 minutes, I do have some interest in him. But there's also some value plays here from this team. Jared Vanderbilt here projected at 25 minutes, not a bad point per dollar player. He actually averages 1.11 fantasy points to start the season, 3.9K, a 6.6 point per dollar value here on their sheet. Not too bad of a play, but the only guy I'm really looking at from this team in terms of cash is going to be Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's a very, very safe option. Chicago, all the price tags are really crazy. I said that at the beginning of the video. I'm not looking at these guys. Zach Levine for 9.5K is pretty insane, especially in the pace down spot. Kobe White, not a fantastic fantasy point per minute player, just averaging under 1 fantasy point per minute. Does not deserve that 7.4K price tag against OKC. So I'm looking right past it here with OKC. Again, not too much to be said. This is a pace up spot for them. Al Horford is coming off of a resting game. 28 minutes is what he's projected at. Probably he would be my favorite option, but again, just tournament play for me in OKC. With Atlanta, we do have some price bumps from a couple of these players. Herder, Brandon Goodwin, and then also Solomon Hill. But we also have a bunch of price decreases here. Cam Reddish got a price decrease. Clint Capella got a price decrease here, 6.7K. And then Hunter also got a price decrease. With all the injuries off the court, Gallinari, Bogdanovic, and Dunn, Clint Capella gets a slight boost in usage and fantasy point per minute wise, so I don't mind him for tourneys. Again, this is going to be a competitive matchup, a pace down spot for these guys, so not in love with all these guys. Cam Reddish, 4.8K, 5.1 point per dollar value, and John Collins also not that bad of a spot here, 7K, 5.3 point per dollar value, but only GPPs in tournaments for these guys. Don't really have too much love. The only thing I do like about these guys is that they're going to be in a competitive matchup, and other players are going to be out on the floor for extended amounts of time. But I have a lot more love here for the Utah picture. With Ingles out, Morgan, and Brantley, there's a lot of usage to go around here at the guard position, specifically with Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley. Let's take a look at their usage boost here. Right now, Jordan Clarkson gets a 1.1% usage boost and also averages 1.33 fantasy points to start the season. That is insane. And a pace-up spot at 6.1K makes for a very good GPP option, only projected at 29 minutes, which is the only thing I don't like about him. But again, we know Jordan Clarkson can heat up. He's done very, very well in limited minutes, 35, 25, and 28 minutes in his last 3 contests, and has gotten close to value and smashed value in 2 of his 3 contests. So really do like him here in the spot. Same thing with Mike Conley. I can talk about them in the same breath. I think Mike Conley's a lot more stable because he is with the starters. Projected in 32 minutes here, 5.5 point per dollar value. I'm not that good of a fantasy point per minute player as Jordan Clarkson, but pretty close. I really do like both of these players. If I had to prefer one or the other, it's going to be Mike Conley, but I also really do like Jordan Clarkson here from the Utah Jazz. All these other guys, price tags are a little bit higher. Rudy Gobert, I don't hate, but a bad matchup here against Clint Capella. So everybody else just strictly GPP options, but I really do like Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley in pace-up spots tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. Going over to the Pelicans, I do have a lot of love for Alexander Walker. I think he's the most obvious play on the slate right now. We saw what he did in last time's contest versus the Clippers. And when he was $3,100, took 23 shots. Yes, that was without Eric Bledsoe, but Eric Bledsoe is questionable. Even if he does play, Alexander Walker is projected to play 30 minutes, and he's just in an absolute smash spot here against the Lakers. It is technically a pace down spot, but this guy averages 1.27 fantasy points per minute with these injuries off the court, with just Lonzo Ball off the court. So I really have a lot of love here for Alexander Walker. He's a great player overall, and he could potentially start for some of these NBA rosters. So I do like him. 4.4K, the most obvious play on the slate. I also do like Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe gets a slight usage boost with Lonzo Ball off the court. A 5.7K price tag in 32 minutes, a 6.3 point per dollar value. So I have a lot of love for these Pelicans, especially if Eric Bledsoe sits, but even if he doesn't, Alexander Walker is one of my favorite plays. And then Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson are just going to be GPP options for me. I don't think you start your builds here with the studs here from this roster. Going over to the Lakers, not too much to be said here. Strictly GPPs, especially since it's going to be a pace down spot here for the Lakers. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, always questionable. Unless they are ruled out, I have no interest from this team whatsoever. Going over to the Clippers here, we have technically Patrick Beverley is questionable, but he's more towards probable. Lou Will is questionable. If he is held out, that's going to give a slight boost to some of these guards here. Specifically with Patrick Beverley. Don't mind him here at 28 minutes. Should be playing about 32 if Lou Will is held out. These guys are playing in the pace-up spot here versus Sacramento Kings. This is a late-night hammer. The Clippers Projected right now, I think the over-under is a little bit higher. Yeah, 229.5, so it's technically the highest on the slate. So I do like Kawhi Leonard. I think he could be relatively chalky. 9.6K is a little bit expensive, but he can easily hit that price tag. Only has to get to about 48 points. Really do like him here in the spot. Same thing with Paul George. I think these guys have high upside, but also high floors as well. I think they're relatively safe bets if you want to go either Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. Personally, I think Kawhi Leonard is the better play, because we know he's a bigger usage guy than Paul George. But overall, I don't hate either one. Definitely like these guys, especially if Lou Will does sit. Last but not least is Sacramento Kings. Not too much to be said here. They all did get a price bump based on what they did to the Portland Trailblazers the other night. De'Aaron Fox, $7,400 was his last price tag. Now he's at $8,100. So I'm going to be all for these guys for the most part. A pace down spot. Harrison Barnes is coming back down the price tag. Always like him because he always plays about 36 to 38 minutes a game. But other than that, strictly GPPs. A lot more interest in the Clippers side of the ball. And with all that being said, guys, hopefully you did enjoy this video. Come join us for the live stream a little bit later to find out that $25 giveaway winner, and then get some last minute updates. I'm sure we'll be getting some late slate breaking injury news, and then I'll be posting updates in the YouTube comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.